This phone has a 90-watt charger, a 144 Hz OLED screen, JBL-tuned sound that sounds great, generative AI, runs Genshin Impact on high graphics, and I even installed a PlayStation 2 emulator with God of War, one of the heaviest games, and it doesn't include just one charger in the box, it includes two, a wired 90-watt charger and a 30-watt wireless one, unlike others. All this for just $247. Plus, it includes Julieta in its promo. I don't know who Julieta is, but she has several skins.
Yeah.
This phone is like me. The more you get to know it, the more you love it. The more you see it, the more you want it. This is the new Infinix Note 50 Pro. Your Infinix arrives in this gigantic box. The box is very stylish, and from the moment you see it, you know you made a good purchase. Inside the first box, there are two more boxes. The small box is for the magnetic wireless charger, which is 30 watts and has a nice design. The other box is for the phone. The first thing you'll find is another box, but black this time. Inside, it is a SIM eject tool, a manual, warranty, a cloth to apply the screen protector, a glass screen protector, and finally, a hard plastic case with a very nice white design. As you can see, it has a MagSafe style circle like the iPhone, so the magnetic charger can attach even if you use the case. It also works if you want to add another accessory like a magnetic cooler. I know it wouldn't be ideal to use the cooler like that, but it's just an example. In the box, you'll also find the 90-watt charger, which is a real beast. And one more box. Inside this one is the USB cable. As you can see, the phone comes well equipped with accessories. Now here we have the phone itself. It has a very nice design and feels very premium to the touch with its aluminum edges. On the front, the selfie camera is embedded in the center of the screen. Above, there's one of the speakers and the infrared sensor to use it as a remote control. It also features JBL branding here. On the right side are the volume buttons and the power button. At the bottom, you'll find the second speaker, the USB port, and the SIM tray, which accepts 2 nano SIMs simultaneously. On the left, there's nothing, and as I said, all the edges are aluminum. The back has a plastic finish with a design that, in my opinion, is nice, though that's a matter of taste. The camera module has a mirror finish. What you see here is not a camera, it's a heart rate and oxygen sensor, and it also has an LED light for notifications. On the front, there's a 6.78-inch OLED screen with full HD plus resolution and a 144 Hz refresh rate. In settings, you can choose between 60 Hz, 144 Hz, or automatic. And honestly, the smoothness difference is very noticeable. Being an OLED screen, we're talking about the highest quality screen available. It has incredible brightness and very vivid colors. The screen has very thin bezels, giving the impression of a very large display. No matter what you're doing, everything looks great. And if you're someone who enjoys watching movies or music videos, the premium screen is complemented by premium sound. It has dual speakers signed by JBL, which is a quality mark. And truly, it sounds powerful. Even at max volume, you can feel the phone vibrate with the bass. It's a very complete and well-balanced sound. It even has an equalizer in the settings. In terms of performance, we have 8 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage, and a MediaTek Helio G100 processor. It's a very decent processor, with good energy consumption and solid performance. On Antutu, it scored 437,000 points, placing it as a mid-range phone. It's supposed to be a device designed for gaming. This time, I decided to test some Android games, but also emulators like the PlayStation 2, with God of War, which is very hard to run. Also, you get a better reference. But let's start with a light emulator, the PlayStation Portable. I loaded the game God of War on this emulator and jumped straight into playing, without configuring anything. Just as the emulator was, that's how I played, and it ran perfectly. Super smooth, no lag at all, the audio sounded perfect, and the image looked excellent too. I guess if you want to get even more out of it, you can go into settings and make some adjustments. But if you're a user without technical knowledge, you just jump in and play. The next game I tried was PUBG. It only allowed setting the graphics to high definition and the frame rate to high. It ran very smoothly with no lag at all and operated at 60 frames per second. PUBG is a very well-optimized game, so there's no surprise here. Now, let's move on to the Wii emulator. Here, the level of demand rises a bit, but just like with the PSP emulator, I didn't configure anything. I simply started playing. For this emulator, I chose Mario Kart, but not the normal version, a modified one that is heavier than the original. This game is so demanding that even on the original console, it experiences lag. And I say this from experience, since I have a Wii and play it there too. To start, I set up a time trial to avoid other players. It was playable, but not completely smooth. There were some slight drops, and most of the time it ran between 30 and 40 frames per second. By the way, the screen looks weird in the video, but on the phone it looked normal. Everything displayed correctly. Then I ran a regular race. Here the frame rate drop was more noticeable, especially when many players were on screen. However, when they spread out, performance improved. It's definitely playable, and surely with some performance settings, the frame rate would improve a lot. So, approved. Another game I also tried was Call of Duty. This is a very well-optimized title that runs on almost any device, so this Infinix had no problem at all. The game only allowed setting the graphics to medium quality and the frame rate to high, which means 60 frames per second. If you want to increase the frame rate, you have to lower the graphics quality. Here I had no doubt. I knew it would run perfectly, and it did. A slightly more demanding Android rival, but also well-optimized, is Genshin Impact. I was able to set it to maximum graphics, and it ran smoothly at 30 frames per second. Even if I set it to 60, it didn't go above 30, but it's still very enjoyable. If you want smoother gameplay, you can lower the graphics quality and raise the frame rate. In that case, it doesn't reach 60, staying around 45 frames per second. Given these two options, I'd prefer to keep maximum quality and stick with 30 frames per second. Now, finally, the last one, the PlayStation 2 emulator running God of War. In this case, I chose a performance profile and set the resolution to 0.5. When the game started, the cutscene ran perfectly. The audio too, I was getting excited.
Death would be his escape from madness.
But even on potato graphics, there was lag. That was already the limit of the phone. Still, I don't doubt that some other PlayStation 2 games might run better than God of War, which is very demanding. I'm also sure there's someone on YouTube with some extreme settings that greatly improve the game's performance.
I will send you back to the depths of Hades!
Definitely. The phone delivers a very pleasant gaming experience, but it's not just that. It has a couple of features that make it very interesting for gaming. The first is an option that lets you map the volume buttons, which works as an extra physical button, useful in certain games. The second is that it has a MagSafe-like system that allows you to attach a magnetic cooler directly to keep temperatures down. In fact, during all my tests, I kept the cooler connected, and the phone stayed very cool. It regulates temperature really well. Another very interesting feature for gaming is this option called Charge Bypass. If you're playing while the phone is plugged in, instead of charging the battery, the power goes straight to the phone, avoiding battery wear. It's like laptops, which can run on power even if the battery is removed. I hadn't seen this feature in phones before. And speaking of charging, there are more cool functions. For starters, the phone has a 5200 mAh battery, a standard capacity but with low power consumption, so it lasts very well. The charger is 90 watts and charges from 0 to 100% in just 38 minutes. Crazy fast. When charging, you can tap the battery icon and choose slower charging. This extends battery life and prevents overheating. You can also choose super fast charging or smart mode. It also includes a magnetic wireless charger, perfect if you're gaming and the cable plugged in gets in the way. It has reversible wireless charging, so you can charge another device with your Infinix. You can also do it by cable. In this regard, it offers very good features. And if you were wondering about overall app performance, it's very smooth. Infinix phones are good not only for their hardware, but also for their software, which is well optimized to get the most out of it. As you switch between apps, you won't have any issues. It's a very pleasant experience with noticeably fast response times. And speaking of the optimized system, this phone comes loaded with artificial intelligence, which you can use for many tasks. I'll briefly show you what you can do, though I might miss something because it has so many features. I'll start with the Smart Assistant. It's called Pholax and runs on DeepSeek. If you don't know what DeepSeek is, it's like the Chinese ChatGPT, and it's very good. You can ask this assistant for basic data or information, like any other assistant, but the interesting part is that it can interact with what's on your screen or with the phone settings, making it much more useful. For example, something as simple but handy as switching to dark mode. You can ask Pholax, and it will make the change. You can also ask it to take a screenshot. Something I really liked is that if you're viewing information on the internet, you can ask it to tell you what it sees, summarize it, translate it, or even read it aloud to you. It's an assistant with a lot of potential, but it's not all the AI it offers. If you make calls, it can translate the conversation in real time, or if you're chatting with someone in another language, the AI can also help you. Regarding images, you can create visual notes where you make a sketch and then convert it into an artistic style. The processing is relatively fast, and you can make as many sketches as you want. This can be useful for artists. You also have an option to create high-quality wallpapers, although here you're limited to 15 wallpapers per day. You can use one of your images to modify it into another visual style. Sometimes it works very well, other times not so much. You can also write what you want to generate in text, and the system creates unique images. And finally, in photography, you can erase objects from the scene. The smaller the object, the better it removes it. But overall, it works quite well. Usually, budget-friendly phones tend to have poor cameras, but this Infinix is not one of them. Its main camera is 50 megapixels. The wide angle and macro are 8 megapixels, and the selfie camera is 32 megapixels, to make it simple. No matter which camera you use, all are enhanced with AI touch-ups, and the result is very well done. It has very good quality for the phone category it belongs to. One of the shots that surprised me the most was the Super Night mode. You can take pictures in almost completely dark places, and it brightens them very well. For example, in this photo, the human eye could barely see anything, and this was the night mode result. I even took a photo of the sky, and the stars were visible. The video is good too. You can record up to 4K resolution, and it has very good stabilization. In photography, you'll also find some artificial intelligence features. For example, one that takes a photo of you and then places you in different virtual settings. And yes, that's me. There are also other creative features, like an option to change the sky in the picture. Honestly, AI in cameras is a real win. It has an in-screen fingerprint unlock and facial unlock. Both work perfectly. As for connectivity, you get 4G network, NFC 5 GHz, Wi-Fi, GPSA, and I think that's all. It's a super complete phone that's definitely worth considering if you're about to buy a mobile. It competes with strong rivals like the Poco X6, for example, and honestly, it beats many of them. Definitely a phone that has it all. I would definitely use it as my main phone, but I don't know about you. In the end, you have the final say. Would you buy it or not? I'm leaving this video here. Over and out.